All right. Really excited to take a look at this. It's kind of a super unusual rifle. This is the H&K SL6. This is a rifle that was manufactured in the 80s. Kind of unusual. It utilizes what's called the delayed roller locking bolt system. Basically, it's the same bolt system used in the MP5. H&K used it in a bunch of guns. The MP5 is not the only one. But that was sort of the gun that made it famous. And it's really an odd rifle. It was meant as a sporting rifle, but it has strong military background. And like a lot of things H&K made back then, the quality is outstanding. Just a really well-made firearm. Let's take a closer look. So it's a magazine-fed semi-automatic rifle. Magazines for this particular rifle are kind of difficult to find. You can get them in 10-round magazines, 4-round magazines. This is a 2-round magazine, presumably used for hunting. Magazine release is here in the trigger guard, so it's pretty easy to get to. The charging handle is cammed so that as you pull it back, you get sort of a mechanical advantage to release the charging handle and make it go forward. There's a button back here that we depress, and then it'll go forward with a loud clunk. Definitely moves with authority. The sights are pretty interesting. If you've shot an MP5 or seen one, they would look very familiar. It's this sort of drum or rotating turret type sight, clearly marked for elevation. Right now it's on the 200-yard elevation, which is pretty good, sort of basic elevation for a 223. And then the front sight is a simple post that is in a hood, a fully enclosed hood. Other than that, it kind of has the trappings of a sporting rifle in semi-automatic in appearance, sort of the traditional looking stock. In this case, H&K chose to use a full wood. Later on, they went to vented wood, and they made some changes to the rifles over the years. It went from the SL6 to, I believe it was the 660. The same rifle was available in a slightly larger configuration, which was the SL7, which was a 308. And it does everything that a semi-auto rifle should do in a sporting configuration. The trigger on this thing is just really, really nice. It probably breaks somewhere around 2 pounds. Almost no take-up. Let's see if we can demonstrate it. Let's see here. So there's just a slight bit of take-up. Actually, let's get a little closer. All right, taking a closer look at the trigger, there's almost no take-up, just a tiny little bit. And then, as I say, it probably breaks somewhere around 2 pounds, no over travel, just a really, really nice trigger. We can also get a better look at the rear sight here. You can see that they're marked. The 200-yard aperture, which is where I had it. There's a 300. There's also, if I rotate this all the way around, you can see there's a sort of an open V for fast target acquisition. And so you just rotate the aperture you want to match the back of the sight. On this side is the safety. I think this is the safety lever is one of the places where this rifle falls short in some ways in terms of ergonomics, and that is it's just sort of inletted here. Hold on, let me charge it. And so the safety is activated this way. We're on safe, and now we're ready to fire. So you can see it's kind of it's not easily activated with the firing grip. One of the other things about this rifle is you could purchase a scope mount for it, and then the scope fits into these recesses. good luck finding one without having to mortgage your home. Everything about the rifle, if you're not a careful shopper, can be super expensive just because they're not made anymore. And so getting parts for it, like magazines and scope mounts, becomes sort of tricky. Okay, we've got some old Black Hills ammunition. We'll give this a try, see what kind of groups we get out of it. Okay, we're about 50 yards out from a 1/3 scale USPSA target. That puts us at a functional equivalent size of about 150 yards. We'll shoot a 5-shot group and see if we can hit anything with it. Shoot this offhand. Trigger's really nice. Breaks super light, super clean. All right, let's go see what we got. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is the 5th shot right here. Looks like the rifle's shooting just a hair low because I thought I was holding around here. But it is set up for a 200-yard aperture, so that does make sense. That would be just a little low. Bullet is rising to the 200-yard line. Still not a bad shot group offhand. The rifle's very shootable. All right, I've got a 10-round magazine. We're about 40 yards from the USPSA target. Well, the 1/3 scale USPSA target. Magazine appears to be seated. Bolt forward, safety off. All right, I've got it set in the V-notch, so it should be pretty easy to pick up the target quickly. It's not that far away. Trigger is phenomenal. All right, it's a nice rifle. Not everything from the 1980s has aged as well as the H&K SL6. This particular rifle is aged quite nicely. It still does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it does it well. It's not a AR-15 or some derivative, but you know, it performs exactly as it was intended, and with the same style and grace that it did in the 80s. And that can't be said for everything from that era.